Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another lovely episode of And Rolling. Woo! Maddie, what did we see today?
I'm Maddie.
And I'm Matt. Yeah, I'm not used to this introduction thing.
I've been told it would be helpful.
Oh, yeah? Do people not know who Maddie and Matt are? They can't piece it together?
Just in case.
Just in case. Okay. Gotcha.
We watched Pillion.
Yeah, we did. You want to summarize this movie for us, Maddie?
Yes. All right. So, Pillion follows Colin, played by Harry Melling, a.k.a. Dudley Dursley.
Where are my presents? There's only 25.
Last year I had 37.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. So.
And and he's all grown up. I'm sorry. What did you want me to say?
Oh my God.
So it starts off and it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day or something, and he's in a barbershop quartet with his dad. And so he and his parents are driving to the barbershop quartet. A man on a motorcycle passes them, and then he sees a bunch of men like in biker gear at the pub. His mom has set him up on a date, but it doesn't seem to be going well. He's very fascinated by the...
He's gay. We should clarify this.
Oh,
because that's really important.
yes,
So.
on a date with a man.
Yeah. Ally.
Whose shirt? What did that shirt say?
I don't know.
I could not make out the bottom.
But I was like.
It said Alexa something.
I know. I was so confused.
That whole scene was very distracting to me because what does
know.
that shirt say?
I was like, what is he trying?
I didn't look at it early enough when he walked in, and now I've missed my chance.
Dudley was distracted by the bikers, and I was distracted by the
shirt.
shirt.
Yeah, exactly. And so he goes up to the bar, orders something, but this very tall blonde biker guy, played by which Skarsgard?
I think it's Alexander Skarsgard.
One of them Skarsgard.
I'll double check
brothers.
just to make sure. But
he comes up and he makes like Harry pay for him. Harry being Colin. He makes Colin like count out his change.
It is Alexander.
Okay, there you go. In case you were wondering, it's Alexander Skarsgard, obviously, and he slips him a note. The blonde guy slips Colin a note telling him to meet him at like 5 p.m. tomorrow, which is Christmas Day. Weird. So they meet at this dog park, and Harry, I keep calling him Harry because that's his real name, but Colin's family is like, he could be a murderer. What kind of creep meets on Christmas Day? And then his parents are like, he could be lovely. His mom really wants him to find someone, which is very sweet.
I will say, like, his parents are actually pretty supportive.
So supportive.
Yeah.
And his mom has cancer and is dying.
Yeah.
And so it does seem like she just really wants to see him with someone and kind of settled before she goes. So it is really sweet. Anyway, they meet. They bring their dogs. They leave their dogs. They go to an alley. Ray, the biker guy, makes Colin get on his hands and knees. Colin blows him for a bit and doesn't seem to be very good at it. Ray tells him to lick his boots. Colin does. And then Colin blows him again. And then Ray's like, we're done here.
Yep.
And doesn't want to seem to meet Colin again. Colin goes back home and has this nice chat with his parents where he's like, none of your business what I did. But they do it in a cute way. Like, it's not like a...
It's not weird.
Yeah, it's like a cute conversation. His mom asks if they kissed, which they didn't, and that's important.
Yeah, it is.
And so then we find out that he works as a meter maid, and everyone hates him because he's giving out tickets all the time.
This man has the most miserable life I think I've ever seen.
The most miserable life and the biggest eyes.
It's so British. I'm like, oh, this is British because you just work at a meter maid. You hate your life.
I'm going to out myself here. And it's so funny. I have not read fan fiction in a while, but it's been on my mind and on my heart lately. And last night while you were gaming, I was reading Jilly fanfic.
Jilly?
James and Lily. Marauders era. That's my sweet spot. That and the founders of Hogwarts. those are my two eras where I am actually interested. I guess I did occasionally read some Rose and Scorpius stuff, but like that was whatever. Primarily, I was a Jilly girl. Still am at my core. But I'm watching this and I'm like, this is so crazy because first of all, you can't not know that it's Dudley. And then second of all, he looks like a young Severus Snape in the beginning. Like dark, kind of greasy hair, the most giant eyes and the biggest nose. And like, I was just like, oh, it's like sad boy Snape. Like if Snape were not a terrible person. Anyway, that was just something that was kind of running through my head, and like what a moment for this movie to crop up after I've finally gotten back on. I don't think HarryPotterFanfiction.net is still around, but that was my poison of preference. So, sorry. I was gonna look up if it was still around, and instead the Shrek soundtrack started playing.
I have to leave that in. I'm leaving that in.
It was a TikTok that I was watching, but it is the.
Is that from the Shrek soundtrack?
Yes. Where have all the good men gone? It's a cover, but it is from the Shrek soundtrack. It might be Shrek 2.
Oh, the superior Shrek.
It is Shrek 2 because they do I Need a Hero at the end. But yes, there is a cover, like an kind of cover. Anyway, we're getting distracted.
Yeah, we still have a lot of movie to cover.
Where was I? Okay, so he's at a meter maid and he's doing his meter maid thing, and this woman confronts him and he's like just kind of being sad. New Year's happens. He tries to get in touch with Ray. Ray does nothing. And as this woman's accosting him for giving her a ticket, Ray calls and he's like, oh yeah, I can leave work early. I'll be there in a minute, whatever. And so he drops everything, goes to Ray's house, right?
He picks up, he gets picked up at his parents' place by Ray.
Yes. And he, his parents are like, he's not getting on the bike if you don't have a helmet. And Ray's like, I
got a helmet, bro. Chill out.
It's very, I saw our future as parents, I think.
A little bit. I was like, this man seems to have his wits about him, especially when the dad's like, do you want a drink? And he's like, not while I'm driving. I was
that was very funny. That was a funny bit. Yeah. So then Ray takes him home and it suddenly becomes very unfunny because Ray's like, all right, well, I'll show you around. Here's the kitchen. Make me dinner. And so Colin does. And then he brings it out to Ray and he's got his bowl too. And Ray taps the couch next to him and the dog jumps up and takes the whole couch.
Yeah, that was funny.
And so Colin has nowhere to go. He just stands behind the couch and eats. And then Ray's like, all right, time for bed. And so they go into the bedroom and he's like, he's like interrogating him about whether he's going to make any noise. And then he's like, okay, well, you can sleep at the foot of the bed, like on the floor, or you can sleep in the hallway. And when I tell you, I was like foaming at the mouth. I was so mad. And because I knew what the movie was about, I knew that Colin was at least a little into it. Like he was going to like enter this relationship.
Side note, so shout out Lissa, who recommended this movie for us. Shout out Lissa from the pod listener. I knew that this was a gay movie. And that's about it.
I had been watching, even before we talked to Lissa, I had been seeing like the press junket from Alexander Skarsgard on the Graham Norton show. So I knew a bit about it and I was interested in this movie.
So this will tell you how straight I am, guys. I heard the movie opens up and it's a black screen with a motorcycle. And I'm like, oh, it's like heated rivalry with race cars. I was like, that's awesome. It is not that. So. No.
And so then in the morning. Oh, the other thing is they come into the house and and Ray hangs up his jacket. I keep calling him Harry. Colin hands him his jacket and Ray just dumps it on the floor. It's so rude. It was so rude. It made me so mad. And the next morning they're like, okay, well, this has been nice. And Colin's like, I'm gonna go. And Ray gives him a shopping list and is like, don't be back before 6. There won't be anyone to let you in.
Yep.
And so Colin shows up and it's this biker party and there's a group of men who are doms and a group of men who are subs, and the subs are like wearing aprons and like like there's one guy in like a dog, like leather dog hood,
Yep.
whatnot. But they're all wearing aprons and they're like serving everybody. It was tamer than I thought it was gonna be.
This movie was far more tame than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I'll be real honest.
Yeah,
I thought
I
it was going to
agree.
get crazy. It did not get as crazy as I thought it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, anyway, they start entering a relationship. Eventually, Harry shaves his head. I keep calling him Harry. Colin shaves his head and gets like a biker outfit and gets a chain with a lock that he wears around his neck. Ray wears the key.
Mhm.
And so he's like inducted into this group and seems to make friends with both some of the subs and the doms.
Everyone
like-
seems to be like getting along,
Yeah,
honestly.
they're vibing.
Yeah.
It's his birthday and he's at his parents' house. It's just him, and his mom is like, "Why doesn't your guy come around? Like, I want to meet him. Why isn't he proud of you?" Like,
His mom has cancer, by the way.
I already said that.
Awesome. Totally forgot that you said that.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Good looking out though.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why
it's
she's-
official. I have cancer.
Yeah, that's why she's motivated, guys, just in case you didn't piece that together.
And also, I think she really seems
I
to
think
be
she
a
cares.
good mom, and she
Yeah.
wants. I mean, he's clearly in his 30s and still lives with them, and she wants him to like have a meaningful relationship.
Yeah.
I think that's really sweet.
And like his brother has like a wife and kids, it seems. Yeah. So
It's his birthday. His parents get him a cake, but as he's gonna go blow out the candles, Ray calls. He answers the phone. He writes the grocery list on their nice card that they gave him.
yeah, I was like, dude.
And he's like, "Okay, I'll see you in an hour," which just, I don't know, was really sucky. And his mom and dad are clearly concerned. They bring it up that they'd like to meet him. And he's like, "Okay, well, maybe." And then they eat birthday cake. And then he goes back home because they find out that he's going to cook his birthday dinner. So he cooks for himself and Ray. Ray is playing the piano and Colin is just standing behind him.
Watching.
It was weird.
Very weird.
Also playing like I mean, I love that song, but it is very TikTokified.
Yeah.
Bum bum bum
Bum, 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 bum. What is that? Which one
Isn't
is
it Nocturne in
B?
D?
I thought it was in B.
There's so many nocturnes, but hold on. I actually listened to this song quite a bit.
Oh, there you go. Now you can listen to the theremin version, which plays frequently throughout the film, just in case anyone's curious and the vibe.
That's not quite it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
Yeah, that's definitely not it.
Okay, then maybe it isn't Nocturne.
I thought it was like Sonnet in B by someone.
Wait, why don't I just look up the
Soundtrack?
yeah.
Girl, don't get too crazy.
I know.
Hold
I'm crazy. Oh, another thing that I leaned over because they play I Think We're Alone Now when they're wrestling on their first date, and I was like,
Yes.
that song's having a crazy year.
It really is. Yeah, and it's got a really different vibe from in Stranger Things. That's for sure. So,
It's not showing up. Okay, well, you guys know it. You know.
let us
what
know in
we're-
the sound. Let us know in the comments.
You know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, Colin asks if he'd have dinner with his family, and he says no, and he says, "Would you reconsider?" And there's like a moment where he's like, "I hope you weren't expecting a birthday present." It was just weird. And then Colin wakes up to an alarm, and he leaves the foot of the bed where he's still sleeping on the floor and goes to the window where all of the biker gang is outside, like revving their engines and cheering for him. And there's a cupcake with a candle. And then they go on this trip, and it's clear that this is like a birthday trip.
Yeah.
And they go camping with these guys. They're having a good time, but they play like water chicken. And Colin loses, which really pisses Alex, which really pisses Ray off. And so Ray borrows the sub of this other guy, and Colin switches places with this sub. and then they win, and Ray's really proud. And so they're like setting something up, Colin and this other sub, and they are talking, and the other guy is like, so you guys look really cute together. Does he kiss you? And Colin's like, no, but I don't mind. And the guy's like, well, it would really bother me if he never kissed me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the doms like sitting around playing cards, and what you it pans over, and it's all of the subs bent over in their aprons, bent over these picnic tables with like their arms behind their back, just like waiting.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And so then this dude gets up and goes over and like starts playing with his sub.
Yep.
So then Ray comes, and Colin thinks he's gonna like blow him, but he doesn't, because then Ray steps over and lets the guy who won chicken with him blow him first, and then he goes to Colin. And this is where, I mean, the most frontal nudity we've seen in a long time.
It's true. Yeah.
Pierced.
It's like if you've ever seen It's Always Sunny, there's the episode where they're trying to see the movie, and they're like, he hangs full dong. That
is kind of what. And then you see Colin kind of going like crazy, and then they do it on a picnic table.
Yeah,
like they're all doing it.
That's
everyone on a picnic table. Something I didn't mention before is that when they had their first like sleepover, they wrestle, which is when they play I Think We're Alone Now. And Colin's costume has no ass. So at one point, he's like hoisted up, and it's just his butt cheeks falling out of the spandex. And it looks so funny. And then that's when they have sex for the first time. And it's clear that he's never done this before, because he's like, I didn't realize it would hurt so much. And so that was just like a little.
Yeah.
Again, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the picnic table. Ray ends by saying like, happy birthday, Colin.
Yeah.
Nice. And then you see that they do go and have dinner with his parents, and his mom is like clearly upset at many things that are happening.
Yeah.
She clocks that Ray finishes a beer, and Colin immediately jumps up to get him another one, and like just several things. She says that Colin can make a good gravy, and Ray's like, that's not true. Like, I don't think he can make much, like, very
He can only make a good omelet.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she finally is like, why are you such a creep? I don't like the way you talk to my son. Like, I know nothing about you. And he's like, I think you're uncomfortable with me. And I don't think that just because I make you uncomfortable, that means that that's bad for your son.
Yeah. He's basically like, I think that's a really outdated way of thinking. Or is what he says.
And truthfully, I didn't agree with what he was saying, but I think it's a bit more gray than just like a black or white issue. But I fully was, again, very on side of the mom.
Yeah, and I have a whole thing about, now that I've had time to marinate a little bit, because I think I have a whole thing about Colin and Ray's relationship once you finish the summary.
Yeah.
Like what I think about it.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that ends, they kind of burst out of there, and then the next scene is the mom's funeral. So that's sad. Mm-hmm. Ray doesn't come. It's Colin by himself. Colin goes home, gets led into the apartment, is cooking dinner, and he just decides to grab a hot pot and burns his hands really badly. And this is the first time that we see Ray, like, taking care of him.
Yeah.
So they order pizza. Ray helps him, like, get situated. Ray is like, you should sleep in the bed with me. Ray cuddles him at night when he's asleep. It's just really nice to him.
Yeah.
And then Colin is like, could we maybe have one day off a week where I'm not in this like incredibly submissive, subservient role? And Ray's like, no. And so
the entire movie, Ray is like, nope, no. Or like, yes. Like he's very one note. I think like all of Alex Skarsgard's lines could fit onto like a single 8x10 piece of paper.
A lot of his communication is happening non-verbally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Colin starts acting out and like plays, like keeps him up, does this, wears his clothes, all this stuff. eventually like takes his motorcycle for a joyride
Yeah.
and gets locked out of the house. And so Ray wakes him up and he's like asleep on the concrete steps. It's actually kind of crazy. And then Ray gives him what he wants. He's like, we'll do a day where we're off. Today we're off. So Ray makes him breakfast. They do whatever he wants. So they go to the movies. Ray puts his hand on his thigh and
they have like a whole thing where he teaches Ray how to sing, and Ray actually becomes like a person for once in the movie.
Yeah.
And he's like, ladies, like he goes up to two strangers and he's like, who do you think is better at singing? And clearly Ray is like way worse. And ladies are like, oh, like the other guy. And he's like, oh, Colin, like you have an ego now. And he's like playing with him and stuff.
Yeah, it's actually like nice to see.
Yeah.
And then they go to the movies, and it seems like this is the first time that Ray has ever touched Colin.
Yeah.
They clearly do something in the movies. They're chased out. They run to this park and they kind of wrestle, and Colin ends up on top of him. And at the same moment, Ray grabs Colin's head and kisses him, and Colin grabs Ray and kisses him. And then it's just kind of like you're seeing them look into the camera and just their facial features change. And then you see Colin on his childhood floor, like his bedroom floor back in his parents' house.
Mm-hmm.
And he's distraught. And you're watching him and his dad go to different biker groups trying to find Ray.
Mm-hmm.
And no one will talk to him. No one seems to know anything. Well, and they go back to the apartment, and he's knocking on the door, and you see from inside the apartment that it's completely empty.
Yeah.
And then it's Christmas that year. Like, it's been a full year.
Yep.
Colin is back with the barbershop quartet, and he's made a dating app where, like, a profile where he's typing in his bio, and it's like, he's like, I've been told I have a big capacity for devotion, and he's clearly like, he's setting up that he wants to be in another kind of BDSM relationship, but in that he says, I want one day off a week that's non-negotiable, and I won't cut my hair. Because his mom had said that his hair was his best feature.
Yeah.
And Ray had made him cut it.
Yeah.
And it ends with him showing up to this guy's soccer game with baked goods. They're clearly meeting for the first time. He bends down to tie his shoe, and then they're walking away together. And he's asked, do you cook? And he says, I cook.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah. And then it starts again. Yeah.
That's the movie.
That is the movie. I was thinking about this, and I think that, so like, I don't think Ray is really that good of a guy.
No,
honestly.
I would agree.
But
I think there are many ways that the movie shows you that too.
Oh, I agree with you. And like, I think this is my whole issue with their relationship is Ray just assumes from the get-go what their relationship is going to be and just manipulates him. And there is no conversation. And like, I think this is where I'm like, oh, Ray's kind of morally gray, because Ray never said, like, Ray gives him he's like, if you want to go, you can go. Like, he's not controlling him in the sense of like forcing him to stay in the relationship. Ray's like, if you want to leave, you can leave. But there's no implied consent of like, we're going to be doing this and you need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's my problem with this.
So we had a mini discussion in the car.
Mm-hmm.
We only watched this movie like 3 hours ago, so it's not super far away.
Yeah.
But we did have a little discussion, and initially I was like, I think this movie achieves what it wants to say. And I don't think I think there's a very clear thesis of the movie, and Ray is the only really morally gray kind of like void in that really has a lot of ambiguity. And at first you were like, I think this movie's a little ambiguous, and now it sounds like you're leaving that thought behind.
I'm not saying that it's not ambiguous. I think that, like, because I think that there's, like, their relationship, the thing is, Colin's a loser. Like, sorry. Like, Colin's character is really lame, and we see that on, like, their day off, where Ray's like, what do you want to do? And Colin's like, I have no fucking clue. even though it's Colin's idea, you know? And I know that happens after his huge thing where he like steals Ray's motorcycle and goes on a joyride and everything, you know? But I think it shows how Colin, I think it's morally gray because I think that Colin is not emotionally prepared, yet he's willing to jump into some of these things and like suggest some, and like he's willing to jump into it and not leave, and he actually like seeks it out, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this movie, like, it's showing someone who's into this.
Yeah.
Watching this movie, I was very much like, oh, I would not be into this.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But this is like, okay, I'm seeing someone who, this isn't necessarily a horror story for them. This is something that's intriguing and exciting. But there are like parts of this relationship that haven't been carved out, and that Ray is against carving out. And that's where it's like, this is like a coming of age in some ways, and like a coming to sexuality story for Colin.
Yeah.
The issue is that Ray refuses to, once Colin has actualized what he needs and what he wants, Ray won't meet him there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And it's clear that there's like something going on with Ray. At first, when we see him and he's wearing that chain with the hook on it, I thought that was maybe a wedding ring, and that like he had, you know, there's some big mystery there. It doesn't get into that. It doesn't really care about Ray all that much.
No.
Only through the lens of Colin.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm like, this movie has a deep perspective that you really don't stray from.
Yeah.
And it has a point of like, my interpretation of the point is like, there are people that thrive in this environment because, as you said, on the day off, Colin doesn't know what he wants to do.
Right.
He actually does seem to like liven up and open up and really appreciate life when he's in this relationship where he is kind of where he is dominated. But there's a limit to that, and that's not to dehumanize him. And you see the other men in this biker group, they have much more loving relationships in the these casual moments where like they'll be leaning together. They look like couples. That was never the case for Ray and Colin, and so that's a fundamental mismatch.
And also, there's when Colin shares the bed with Ray, like on the day that he gets hurt, Colin's like, I love you, you know that, right? And Ray's like, yes. And then it's like, do you love me? And it's like, that's not, and Ray's like, that's not what this is about.
Yeah, he says like, that's not the point.
Yeah.
And then Colin's like, isn't that the point of everything? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, of all of it.
Right.
The point of everything is to be in love. So you just see that like, I think that this is a movie about Colin coming into his own. While also like, and to this point, like, coming into your own and being able to assert yourself in this relationship, to have that day and recognize like, oh, maybe this isn't entirely what I want. And then we see him do that in his next relationship where he is like, the one day off is non-negotiable, but I don't need more than that.
Yeah. Well, and
he doesn't want more than that.
To back up your point, like I think that the whole scene with him going on the joyride on the motorcycle, the whole point of that is him taking control. Like, it's like, oh, he's taking control, blah, blah, blah.
And he seems to like it. He seems really, like...
He's vibing.
His visuals, when he's on the motorbike, he really does seem to enjoy being on it.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if now he doesn't own his own at the end of everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I think that that's where I have a problem. And I'm kind of like... I think that the reason I like this movie is because it leaves you asking questions and doesn't answer them for you.
I agree. I think that there's a lot of... I also will say I like this movie because I wasn't fully on board with everything that was happening.
Yeah.
But Colin clearly was. So it was a good exercise of like, all right, that's what he wants. But at the same time, I thought made a good point with the parents of like his mom being like, I don't like the way you talk to my son.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. The parents were really good characters, and I will say this: I appreciate finally an LGBTQ movie where it's like, not that like I've seen a ton, but where it's like, hey, everyone just kind of accepts who they are, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
like,
It was a non-issue.
cool.
The
Yeah.
issue was that they wanted him treated well
Right.
and respected and cherished.
Right.
Like they make a point of being like, when your mom met me, she paraded me around all the time. She wanted everyone to see us together.
Right.
And they're concerned that Ray doesn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
also, I kind of agreed with his mom about the hair.
I know.
I thought he looked much better with the hair, long hair.
Mm-hmm.
And it did feel like he totally changed everything about him.
Oh, yeah.
Physically and, all
Completely.
this. And so it just, I was just very much on board with the, like, you do what you want and you live your life. But also, I think it does call into question some of the, like, human dignity aspects of, like, kink lifestyle.
Yeah, and
You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree with you, and I also want to touch on points with the parents, because I agree with everything you're saying about the parents, but I also feel like his parents are incredibly stifling. Like,
yes, that's true.
Like, they're supportive, which is great, but they don't allow him to be like his own person, really, And like his mom's like, "Oh, I found this person, like this boy for you," instead of letting Colin do that himself.
I don't know. I think you're maybe reading into that a little bit, because to me it seemed like he had no motivation to try and find someone. Like, he wasn't trying. And so she's like, I know you want this. You have to go out and do it.
I agree with you. I just think that there were better ways for them to go about that than forcing him into those situations.
Nobody's perfect.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like this movie, is because it's not perfect.
I was going to say, I feel like everyone felt real.
Yeah.
Like, Ray sometimes felt cartoonish, so maybe not everyone felt real. Ray, like, up until that last day when you finally got to see a different side of him, it was like, this is insane. And like, yeah, what does he do for a living? Because who's working with you 9 to 5?
Yeah, no, I am like, where does he get the money to pay for rent? Like, like, what is going on? And because it is like, dude, you go into this guy's apartment and you're like, oh yeah, that a man lives here. Like,
Yeah,
it is
it's
bare bones.
Jinx.
Yeah.
It's not the worst place I've ever seen, but it didn't look like...
It is pretty plain.
It looked like he could pack that up in 2 hours.
And I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did. I think he was like, here we go.
You get kissed once and you got to leave the country.
Yeah. Yep. And we might be getting sidetracked a little bit from what you were saying, but I want to say I really appreciate the nonverbal acting in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that it's really good, and I think that the scene, like, Ray is a very monotone character, and I'm like, honestly, I feel like I could have played like Skarsgard's role until he kisses Colin, and then like you see it in his eyes, and he kind of has like a oh shit moment. Like, he's like a whoa.
There's a lot happening in his facial expressions.
Yeah. And it's like and I think that Ray is having a lot of mixed emotions about it, because you don't know anything about him. It's like, why is he reacting that way? And you just don't know.
And you never know.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I think that's kind of relationships sometimes, things happen and you just don't know.
Yeah. I
don't know.
I was thinking the same thing of how true it is that you never fully wrap everything with a bow. Yeah.
Yeah. This movie ends and it's not super satisfying.
Oh, I was going to say I was pretty satisfied.
I think I'm not saying that I wasn't satisfied with the movie as a whole package, but I think that there's unanswered questions, and that's not satisfying. Like, as a viewer, from like a human point of view, where it's like, oh, I want to know all the loose ends, tie it up in a nice little clean bow. This movie doesn't do that. So in that sense, it's not satisfying from like an intellectual point of view, a storytelling point of view.
I guess I equated this movie to the Knives Out case with a donut hole missing from the middle.
Yeah.
And that donut hole is just the void of Ray.
Yeah.
And for me, I was comfortable with the shape of the donut.
Yeah.
And because I don't know, I think too, like, if you've had situationships,
Mm-hmm.
that feels very true to life. Of like, people kind of come in, it might be like intense for a minute,
Yeah.
and then it's done, and you're like, I have no idea where they are. I have no idea why it ended this way. I have no
Mm-hmm.
idea like what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing you can really do is just like move on to someone else that's better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I get it.
so to me, because, and also I think the narrative was so steeped in Colin's perspective
Yeah.
that he seemed to find peace without Ray at the end. So I did too. And
Good
I
point.
was relieved that he was back with his little barbershop quartet. Like, truly, it seemed like his whole life was caring for Ray.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, in a way that was really never, we saw no like agreement or conversation to get them on the same page of what the like boundaries and expectations of this relationship were.
Right.
Which I think is different because, I mean, I'll say it. I have no real experience with BDSM. I know kind of like the popular zeitgeist of like the 50 Shades and like the
Yeah.
aftermath, which I'm sure, is not true to life. But, I think when you see that kind of thing in media, it's often like there's contracts or there's
Yeah.
like explicit agreements.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it's like on the inside. I don't know if that is like how it works or if that's an important part of it.
I don't think so.
It seemed like there was no same page that anyone was on
No.
in this relationship.
No. And I think that's like, so we talked about this in the car too. This is what Wuthering Heights wanted to be.
And we both, or at least I was like watching it and being like, I know exactly.
I had it during the movie too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
During the movie, I think both of us had that exact thought of like, and this is what Wuthering Heights was going for.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially like in Wuthering Heights, it's like Jacob Elordi's like, I'm going to treat you like shit. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, huh? What does that mean?
It's so interesting because in so many ways, they both seem like Kathy and Heathcliff, and they both seem like Isabella and Heathcliff. The other thing that I wanted to point out too is like, it's not just that Ray said that he didn't love Colin. He said that Colin couldn't upset him if he tried.
Yeah.
Which I think really was very hurtful thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
And really like wasn't true, and everyone could see that wasn't true. He was upset.
Yeah. Especially when Colin challenges him and he goes on a whole thing and like drives his motorcycle. Like Ray freaks out. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like
he's very upset.
Yeah.
But to lie about it and to say like, you couldn't upset me, I don't care about you at all.
Yeah. That's one where I'm like, wow, dude. Okay. That's and I like, this is, I think like you're saying, it's like, this feels like a real relationship. Like Wuthering Heights felt like a fantasy. Like this is just a made up fairy tale land that doesn't exist. This felt like a real relationship. And like Wuthering Heights, they'll be like, well, they had the consent. It's like, okay, they had the consent, but they're doing some crazy random stuff that's...
This was like kink normcore. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's like
a weird kind of juxtaposition of the everyday lives of BDSM bikers.
Yeah. No, it's like, okay, like
the number of grocery lists that are texted in this movie
is actually really crazy.
It's
and the
like
number,
a lot of
and like
grocery
yeah,
lists.
and like the number 1, walk the dog. Number 2, like
there
you're
are
like,
so many
huh?
lists that make an appearance in this film.
Yeah. It's wild. I think that's the thing where I'm like, oh, okay, this movie is portraying a relationship in a realistic way. And it's a toxic relationship. It's not a good relationship, but it explores the dynamics of that relationship. And that's interesting. Wuthering Heights is just like, I don't know, guys, isn't this fun? And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, I can't say during this movie I was ever like, this is fun, but it's interesting.
Again,
you know?
kind of going back to the bride thing where
Mhm.
it's like, give me a perspective, even if I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yes.
And that makes a far more humanistic picture
Mm-hmm.
and like rooted in a fantastical thing, but rooted in reality because the character feels real.
Yes.
Also, I have to say, it is just so funny to me, and I know that they're out there, but the idea of British biker gangs, like you're biking through villages named like Chumley or whatever, like, can you imagine? That's so embarrassing.
Oh. Yeah, no, it's
Like,
yeah. Yeah.
like biking through villages with thatched roofs.
No, they're on like a country road at one point, and I'm like,
and they're like biking through this
oh.
like idyllic
Yeah.
like fields and shit, and I was just like, this is so unserious. That's so funny.
It's really funny because like the guys in Top Gear, they're like, the British standard of driving is superior, and I like see people driving in these movies, and I'm like, dude, like this is horse and wagon country. This is bullshit. There's no way this is made for an automobile. Like that's crazy.
It was just that hit me like halfway through the movie of like how ridiculous these guys are probably like booking Airbnbs that are like little cottages on their biking trips. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's also like the European biker gangs where it's like they like actually protect themselves and like wear safety equipment. And I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, they had like a lot of gear.
No, that's the way that Europeans motorcycle, though, man.
I mean, and that is how you should.
No, they do it the right way. It's just like funny with the American contrast where it's like, I'm gonna be sleeveless, wearing a wife beater and maybe some jeans, like you know, and you're like, okay,
yeah, fully.
Yeah, it's just funny. It's different, but no, I
feel like this performance out of Harry Melling was
really
phenomenal.
Good. Really good.
I thought he was so good, and I know I said it took me a little while to like move past the Dudley Dursley.
Yeah.
But I did, and like he was astonishing. That's some of the best acting from one of the Harry Potter kids I've seen in a long time.
Well, and he wrote and directed this.
No, that's somebody else. That's a different Harry.
It's a different Harry.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
I know.
Okay. That's confusing. That's confusing because I was like, oh, it's the same person.
Yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah.
But, I mean, kudos to the director and writer, too. I mean, even though you are a different Harry.
It is a different Harry. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
I will say Harry, actor Harry, he looks both so young and so old all at the same time.
It's crazy.
His eyes have seen 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm. I find it very funny that the genre on Wikipedia says that this is a romantic dark comedy. I'm like, comedy? There are some funny bits in this movie.
Yeah.
But like...
Do you want a pizza joke?
Yeah.
No, it's too cheesy.
It's too cheesy.
That's what Ray tells him
to cheer him up.
At the day of his mom's funeral when they're eating pizza after he's burned his hands. I was like, it's an interesting thing of... They didn't really explore this too much.
Mm-hmm.
But this notion then of Ray only giving relationship comfort when he's hurt.
Yeah.
And then the dynamic that makes where if that had continued, I wondered if Colin was going to start hurting himself intentionally to be treated better.
He hurts himself intentionally when he does it.
I know.
Yeah.
But then cause and
like
effect.
doing more. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I could easily see that. And I think that's my problem with the lack of consent in this movie, because it's like, what are the bounds of this relationship? And like, clearly to Colin, his family is important to him.
Yes.
And like, Ray doesn't show up to the funeral.
I know.
It's like,
I thought that was
dude,
horrible.
like, are you guys in a relationship or not?
Well,
you know?
The other thing too is like, I think that, and this is touted as like, a big part of BDSM is in some ways consent because the person submitting is consenting to submitting.
Sure.
And I don't always get that with Harry, with Colin.
What do you mean?
Like, he's just sort of going along with it.
Oh, yeah.
But as soon as he says he wants something else, that's denied him. So then is it consent? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
I also do think that it's interesting that he's not the one who leaves. It's Ray who leaves because of something Colin does, you know? And like Ray initiates the kiss.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
But, you know, it's like Colin being on top, all this stuff.
It's a role reversal and he hates it.
Yeah, and it's not exactly the ending that you want because I think, at least for me, I wanted Colin to find someone who he could be himself with. He could have that dynamic with, but who would also treat him the way he was seeing other people in this dynamic be treated. The other men were getting relationship benefits, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like where the guy's like, oh, I could never not kiss. And then they're cuddling later, like out in the open, you know, and it is just like, he clearly wants more. Yeah.
Yeah. He wants more. And that's where I'm like, there's a real lack of communication in this relationship. And I think a real lack of communication in general in Colin's life. Like, he doesn't express himself. He doesn't stand up for himself at all.
And I think that's why the bio is so important at the end.
Oh, I agree with you.
Because you see him finally doing that.
Right. I totally agree with you that he does that at the end.
Yeah.
I'm just...
Well, and that's where I'm like, this is a coming of age. Like,
it is a coming of age.
Story.
Yeah. It's definitely a coming of age story. It's just... It's one of those things where I am like, this is where I feel like his parents let him down a little bit, because I'm like, his parents could have say like, Colin, what are you looking for in a relationship? Like, his mom just thrusts this man upon him. At least that's from what we can gather. And it's like not what he's looking for at all, you know? And that's where I'm like, okay, like, I know his parents are being supportive, but sometimes stepping back is being supportive, you know? Or like talking through things with your kids is being supportive. And I don't think his parents do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's definitely like a British, like, stiff upper lip. We don't talk about things.
Yeah.
But it is funny to have the Brits be the ones that are like communicative in comparison to Ray, who is I don't know, Swedish?
Scandinavian,
yeah,
probably.
whatever.
Yeah, I think he's Swedish in real life, so I'm assuming he's Swedish.
That's what he was supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be such a fascinating double feature with Baby Girl.
Yeah, because I feel like Baby Girl is really interesting because it is consensual.
Yeah.
But there's also a real difference in power dynamics.
Right.
Like, just from a socioeconomic perspective. And this movie, like, we don't know what Ray does for a living. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in their relationship.
We don't know anything about Ray. We know that Ray has had 3 dogs.
Oh, really? I didn't even catch that.
The tattoo on his chest.
Oh, those are his dogs.
The third one's name is Rosie, which is the name of his most recent, like the dog that we see.
Oh.
So I'm assuming the other 2 are his other dogs.
See, I didn't even piece that together. Yeah, no, probably. I think, and I think that there's a real interesting, there's some interesting stuff happening there. And also, I don't know, I feel like this movie, how do you feel about like the gender dynamics in this movie too, though? Because I feel like that's the difference between Baby Girl and this movie, I think. Like, in Baby Girl, like, it's a male-female relationship, and there's imbalance there.
The whole point of Baby Girl is to throw the expected gender imbalance and power imbalance on its head.
Yeah.
So, you know, in this one, I was percolating on that because the only woman in this movie, is his mom.
That is the only woman, isn't it?
I mean, like, there's the woman who, like, curses him out for giving her a ticket, but that's...
the only character of importance is his mom.
Negligible.
Yeah.
And she, you know, I didn't think that this movie wasn't concerned with women in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah.
women were I don't want to say necessary evil because there wasn't any evil to it, but they were just like, they were there as part of the landscape that people live in.
Yep.
But they weren't concerned, in my opinion, on gender dynamic. I think that there's probably a lot that you could go into if you know more about the dynamics of this kind of relationship than I do, particularly like a gay relationship. It was interesting to me that all of the subs were often dressing in aprons and doing these like housewife type things.
Oh, I was thinking the entire time, I was like, oh, Colin's a housewife. Like, that's his role.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
what they want, which feels very heteronormative. But it wasn't done necessarily in a way that felt like misogynistic. You know what I mean?
And like,
so it's like, all right.
And Ray is like very masculine. Like
Ray is like the most manly man I've ever seen in my entire life.
Ray is a man. Like
Ray's the man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Toxic masculinity is named after Ray.
Oh, it's toxic, all right. It's yeah. But no, I definitely agree with you that there's some interesting gender stuff happening between those two movies. And I think
keep going.
Well, I'm just like, I think that's maybe why I didn't like Baby Girl as much. Maybe because I'm like, I didn't buy the gender dynamic between them in the same way. And in this movie, I'm like, oh, I'm buying into it more because I do see the gender dynamic happening. Or like the gender dynamic makes more sense, you know?
I agree. I also think that in this movie, I was kind of like on the lookout because as this got started, I was like, ooh, are they going to like make this a weird gender dynamic where like they're ultra feminizing him because he's submissive, and like, is that what this means to them? I didn't get that. I didn't really get that from them. So I was actually like, maybe someone will make that argument, but I don't know enough about these dynamics to say. And this depiction didn't have anything that I was clocking as like, oh, this is demeaning. And you're equating being feminine to being demeaned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only thing there is, I think, Ray himself, again, that donut hole in the middle of the movie of he's not giving love to Colin.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like it's a gender thing or a submissive thing. That feels like that, like Ray, that feels like his own problem, like his own internal issue of like, you know, is it that he's not okay being gay? Is it that he can only, you know, express himself if he feels like he's being this hyper masculine alpha guy? You know what I mean? We don't know. We don't go into it because we never find out. But it didn't feel like it was you're feminine and that's wrong. Thing to Colin. Like, that's not why Colin wasn't receiving love.
Yeah. And I
don't feel like Colin was feminine.
No, I don't think he was either. I think that the thing with Baby Girl is it's like she's always feminine, but I think that the thing is it's like, I think that it's more of the class structure thing where now she's the one who's not in charge. Now she's the one who has to submit to him, sort of a thing. And that's the kink at play, I guess.
Right.
Where in this one, it's very much, as far as we can tell, kind of an even playing ground, except Colin is easily emotionally manipulated, in my opinion. You know, and Ray takes advantage of that.
I think Colin's starved for the kind of love that he wants.
Yes.
And Ray gives him not exactly what he's looking for, but he gives him something that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Overall, I really liked this movie, especially in light of the terrible movies we've been seeing. Oh. This was like a breath of interesting fresh air. Would I watch it again? Probably not. It wasn't like visually stunning or like there were parts where I was really frustrated with like just Rey's character in general, and I don't like being frustrated while I watch things for entertainment, so like, that's not going to appeal to me.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated the performances. I appreciated the like foray into a world that's not my own.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, well, I was telling you in the car, I was like, thank God I finally have seen a movie now that's making me think.
Yes.
Like, that's a
that you had to
big
kind
thing.
of work out. Like,
Yes.
how are they feeling?
Right.
Let me observe their body language, especially that first time that they have sex. Colin goes back and forth between being like clearly uncomfortable and maybe in pain, and then you find out in pain.
Yeah.
And like being into it. Like there's a moment halfway through where it was like, okay, no, he's getting into it, and then it shifted. And then it's like, oh no, he's not into it.
Well, and I found that really weird from Rey's character because when he finds that out, Rey stops and like seems to be concerned a little bit.
He seems frustrated to me.
Really? Is that the vibe that you're getting? Okay.
Like he didn't want to hurt him, but he was like, okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Or like disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also think that Rey, not targeted, but I think the appeal to Rey of Colin is that he could train him however he wanted.
Yeah.
Because he'd never been in another relationship. He'd never even really been with another guy.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me, sometimes if we're looking at this from like a heteronormative perspective as well, sometimes I see this with like the girls who are in college and then like the guys who are like older.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's weird. That's immediately a red flag for me because I see like the guys where it's like, well, you have nothing going on, so you can do blah, blah, blah for me while I'm at work or something, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, you know? That's kind of the same vibe a little bit that I'm getting.
And Colin even at the beginning asks like, have I passed the test? What do I get for passing?
Yeah.
And it's like, it feels like that test never really ended.
I don't think it did.
Yeah.
I don't think the test ended. I think the whole thing was a test. And then Rey finally was scared.
I was going to say, do you think Rey loved Colin?
I think that I don't think that Rey loved Colin. I think Rey liked what Colin gave him.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And as far as I'm concerned, this is going to be my little Catholic guy coming out. This was more, in Rey's perspective, this was more, I feel. Even though, like, from Colin's perspective, I think Colin viewed it, he was like, oh, like, I do love him. Like, I mean, he flat out says it. He's like, I love Rey, you know? But from Rey's perspective, this is more of a lustful relationship where he's like, this is really just about sex for me. I don't actually really care about you. I only care about you to the extent of you can give me what I want, which is some sort of sexual pleasure, you know?
Yeah.
That's my thing. And then as soon as Rey kisses Colin, he's scared, disappointed, and frightened all at the same time. Like, I think there's something in Rey's past that freaks him out.
Scared and frightened.
Yeah, scared and frightened. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a double whammy.
You scared me and you frightened
me. But I think that something has happened in Rey's past that he clearly just is not divulging for whatever reason. I think that the fact that Rey starts to develop feelings is a big red flag for him, because I've seen that in my life as well. Basically, like, as soon as Rey starts to develop feelings, it's like big red flag for Rey. Rey's like, whoa, this is going too far, you know? Mm-hmm. And I said something else, but he just doesn't. Rey is suddenly like, oh no, this is not going to work out.
To this point, one of like the most recent Allie Hazelwood books, which I did not care for, it's called like In the Deep End, and it's about like swimmers at Stanford, and like it is a BDSM like relationship, whatever. She's never really written that before, so this was kind of out of left field in my opinion. But at one point, the guy leaves for like 3 weeks and doesn't tell her why or where he's going or what's happening.
Yeah.
And his brother contextualizes it for her, which is like he needs to prove to himself that he has self-control and that he's in control of both her, in some ways, her, the situation, and himself.
What?
And he couldn't come back until he could prove that he had control. Which, when I read that, I was like, that's so... okay. Like, no. Stupid and dumb.
Yeah.
Scared and frightened.
Yeah.
But watching this movie, I was like, okay, maybe is that what that is? Like, he's holding him... like, it's less about not wanting to give Colin love and affection, and it's more about him wanting to like control himself, and it's the lack of control of himself that made him leave. You know what I mean?
I definitely think that's a part of it.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Because I think like we were saying earlier, like he's very masculine, and that's very much a part of masculinity. Is it's like control over yourself.
Yeah.
You know. Like, you need to have control over yourself and then your family and all of that, you know? And I think that he plays into that. And that's where I'm like, I feel like this is where I'm like, this is a lustful relationship. Like, he's playing into toxic traits. Like, he doesn't actually care at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, the other things to just kind of wrap this up, the set and the, like, filming felt very kind of early 2000s, not mumblecore, but just the normcore.
Yeah.
It was done in a good way, but, you know, nothing necessarily stood out to me.
Yeah.
So, you know, what would you rate it?
I think like a 7.
Okay.
Like, it made me, I'm like, because I'm like, I don't think it's a 6. I think it's better than a 6, you know? I can't
remember what we've recently rated a 6.
I don't remember. That's just how I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm feeling in the moment. But I feel kind of like a 7 because I am like, this movie has made me think. It's going to sit with me for a while, and that's good. You know, I'm not like, it's definitely not the best movie I've ever seen.
I think for me, it might be a 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why?
It's just my gut. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I'm like, it's better than average, in my opinion. I think it's better than average.
I wouldn't go any higher than a 7. And I wouldn't go lower than a 6. So maybe I'm landing at like a 6.5.
I think that's kind of how I'm feeling, too.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm just willing to go a little bit higher than you.
That's fair. I mean...
yeah.
It's somewhere between a 6 and a 7.
Something like that. Something like that.
Something.
Did you know that there's a bunch of people who said that I've been seeing reviews on TikTok. People are saying The Bride is a 6 out of 10.
People are also saying that in 20 years we're going to look back on The Bride and be like, that's a camp masterpiece. And to that I say, make me.
No way. No way. Don't believe it.
Anyway.
Don't believe it.
Well, we do kind of need to wrap up, so.
Yeah, we do. We do need to. we have time.
We got places to be.
Yes. So that's Pillion. Let us know what you think about the movie.
Also, did you know what that word meant before watching the movie? We had to look it up.
Yeah, we didn't know after we watched the movie.
Yeah, yeah. They don't really explain it in the movie. But, like, is that a word that you were familiar with prior to this exposure?
I don't think anyone watching this podcast or listening to this podcast knows is into bikes. I'll be real honest. Unless, well, maybe we'll have a new...
You'll surprise us.
I know.
Don't know.
Let us know. We had a person on TikTok reach out and said that she wanted to listen, a random person. So that
Shout out to you, random TikTok person.
That was awesome. So, and I want all of you to be like that. Comment, let us know, share it with your friends and family. If you have a Dear Maddie...
I don't know if this is the one to share with your family.
Share it with your family. Show this to Grandma and say, hey, we're going to sit down and watch
Grandma,
a movie together.
Have you ever watched anything with full dong?
She'll be like, ooh, but I want to.
And then just show her Heated Rivalry.
Yeah, but there's no full dong.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, dare I say this wasn't full?
It was full dong.
You saw the tip.
I saw the full schlang, you know? Like, it was there. I saw the full schlang.
Maybe I was distracted by the piercing.
Yeah, I didn't see the dangling berries, but...
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't get the full package.
We did not get the full package, but we did get
and we
full
did
dong.
get dangling butt cheek. So...
That
At the
we
end
did.
of the day, who's the winner?
Let us know what you think. If you have a Dear Maddie, please send it to us. And that's all. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.